One. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Good as Gold number 50. That's right, this is game number 1 of round 1. It's a best of 1, and we're going to be on Ohana. Today with me is the amazing Mr. Nostalgia Talix, who I had to interrupt oh so rudely there. I'm sorry. Please continue with your thoughts, sir.
Oh, no, it's fine. We'll actually get straight into this game then. Do you want to do the introductions, or would you like me to?
Let's trade them off. You can do
All right.
one and I'll do the other.
All right, spawning up here in the top left-hand corner as our blue Zerg player from Don Boss Gaming, we have Vega.
And in the lower right-hand corner of our screen, it is the Protoss player in the red, DbgVoid. DBG standing for, I believe you said Don Boss?
Don Boss Gaming.
Don Boss.
Now, just so we don't get everybody confused out there, because I was looking at your overlay.
Yep, I'm fixing that right now, actually.
All right, so there we go. I was going to be like, why can't I lose? Was from yesterday.
Indeed, he was our victor yesterday. Ironically, he's filling up to his name. He came in second in a previous one. It was amusing.
Oh, that sad little miss there.
Yeah.
All right, well, it looks like Void here against our Zerg player. Gonna be going for that faster expand. Has put his pylon here in front of the Naturals ramp. It looks like the drone actually gets right up there from Vega. So it'll be interesting to see if Void's going to actually go, Forge Nexus or Forge Gateway Cannon Nexus. As there's different variations, of course, of this fast expand.
Alright, there we go. Everything's all pretty. And yes, thank you, sir. The Forge Fast Expand, as we were discussing, is going down. Forge first. Looks like our opponent has not decided to expand just yet. Might be coming up soon as he's racking up a lot of minerals.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be going the Hatch first build as opposed to Spawning Pool into Hatch, which tends to be a little bit more popular in Protoss versus Zerg, especially on a map. Actually, indeed, going to be going for Spawning Pool first. The fact he's going to be using the drone that he used to scout to actually build that first Spawning Pool, as opposed to one by his mineral line. Keeping that mineral production going a little bit longer. Of course, though, that also means that that is a delayed Spawning Pool.
Sending that Overlord in now. He wants to take a glance and see if perhaps the Forge was canceled, if this expansion really is going down. And because Photon Cannon went down second and Vega's not pulling this Overlord may be our first death of the game.
Yeah, it's getting really close in there. And, oh yeah, it looks like the Photon Cannon going to be able to get that Overlord just barely, though, as he has started pulling it away now. Let's see. One more hit. There it goes. And Vega loses that one Overlord. 100 minerals that he is forced to make to get another Overlord just so he's not supply locked. And there's, no, my baby!
He's a little depressed about it, but it's alright. He's going to go with this expansion, maybe. Really kind of missing his timing there by a lot. He's got 500 minerals stacked up already.
Yeah, that's a little bit of lag. Well, that's what happens when you start paying attention to your Overlord.
Indeed.
And you just realize, you're like, oh, I could actually make 2 expansions. So maybe he's actually going to go straight for a double expand. I mean, that's a possibility, but less likely. The first Queen's on the way. Unfortunately, currently supply blocked. There we go. That Queen is now going to be able to get started as Overlords are slowly starting to pop out. Oh, wow. Okay, look at Void's wall here. It looks like he's going to be going for the 3 cannon wall. Obviously, this is a wall that is very susceptible to things like Baneling busts, as Photon Cannon's pylons don't actually have the most health. You tend to usually see gateways with cannons behind it, or some sort of larger tech building that has some more HP, like the Forge.
So, I've actually seen a similar build like this. He just walled up behind the 3 photon cannons, but he expanded in that game and then went with a Stargate. A little bit of a cheesy build. And you're saying that this is an actual thing like this right here, what he's doing?
No.
Okay.
Not really. It could have been if he had held with a Forge in front and you actually use buildings. But on a map like this, he did kill that Overlord. He can hide the fact that he's on one base. He may actually, there are ways to obviously trick your opponent into thinking that you're going for, a fast expand when they've lost that Overlord, and then all of a sudden you just 4-gate them off of one base. That is a possibility. However, it's delayed, and it doesn't tend to be as effective as actually smackering up taking that expansion. But we'll see how it gets played out. It's actually looking like it's going to be working pretty good here against Vega. Vega did go for that early Roach War, and he's putting some Roaches out right now. Was probably thinking about going for an earlier bust here against our Protoss player, as most Protoss players tend to only have 1 cannon early game. 3 cannons, though, will shut down any kind of aggression that Vega's going to be doing early game.
That is definitely true, but a pop-off of well, 3 roaches now, 4 rather, and a few more coming out. And I don't think there's going to be anything available to protect the Void from some kind of early roach baneling pressure. But we don't have a... Ooh, my apologies. We don't have a baneling nest or anything like that down. We just got the speed upgrade for the Lings, the Roach Warren, no other tech, no other expansions going down. Very, very passive game right now. These two players know each other pretty well, but the Void falling significantly behind in supply. Like,
well, that is true. I mean, Vega did start his lair, so he's talking to that. Void is going to be going double Stargate play, though. So he's probably going to open up with at least 1 or 2 Void Rays, maybe a Phoenix or 2, just so he can continue aggression. But it looks like it might just be a big Void push, as you don't tend to see many Protoss go for double Stargate unless they want to make a whole lot of Void Rays. However, he's not going to be able to really keep the supply up right now. He definitely needs that second gas in his main, and even needs his natural to really have constant production as well as tech. We see the 2 Stargates are actually going to be finishing up now. He is putting down some pylons. He doesn't really need to right now, as he's got 58 supply to the 19 that he actually currently has. So he has quite a lot of room. But, Vega actually behind this, he is getting the double evolution chamber. So once he sees air, some spore crawlers can go down. He just won't, at the meantime, have any kind of anti-air other than maybe a queen or 2.
Yeah, I mean, if these Void Rays decide to move out by themselves early on, they might be able to do a lot of damage. Warp Gate Research not being thrown down at all. He doesn't have the gas for it. I guess he was saving it for the Void Rays. But it's interesting that he would plan to go a Stargate build and only just now be getting the second assimilator. He actually is not using Chrono at all. That may be a mistake that he's going to regret later. Void, if you're watching this VOD, make sure you're using that on something, anything, your Void Rays, whatever.
Yep, that is a good point. He's actually very low on probes as well. He's only got 9 probes mining minerals right now. So his income with minerals is not very high, but everything that he does have is going straight into Void Ray production. So the Void Rays will be pretty effective, I would say, but this is very, very much an all-in. No natural, so no expansion, no upgrades, really. Very, very small probe count. It's just Void Rays, and once, or if they lose, then it'll basically be game there from Void.
Yes, if indeed is the correct term. Now having broken down those rocks, DBG's Vega is expanding a little bit late perhaps, but that's alright. Again, an extremely passive game. Also, you'll notice that Vega's vision of the map so far is pretty good. He has not established any knowledge about the Stargates though, and would have really liked to see him send another Overlord out across the map earlier after losing that first one. A suicide of an Overlord is worth it a lot of times for information such as this. Void Rays coming, you just make a few more queens, make a spine or a spore crawler rather, and then you win the game.
That's very true. All right, looks like Void is going to be moving out with his first attack. He is going to continue to produce Phoenix Void Ray back at home. He did make 1 Phoenix. He's got 3 Void Rays. Looks like he's going to try to get up and hit that 3rd base. That's going to be pretty good. Vega at the same time actually moving across the field right now with quite a lot of roaches, and that might actually be a proper number of roaches to actually break through this cannon wall.
Very well, maybe. I'd like to see him produce perhaps a round of Lings to go in right behind them. These Void Rays are taking perhaps the longest route possible to get there. They don't want to be seen. And...
all right, here comes the aggression. The roach is moving up towards the natural. Indeed, 2 cannons going down. There is a 3rd one that's in the back, but all of the cannons getting killed off very, very quickly here by these roaches. He's going to see that there's no natural up, and at the same time, you see that Void Ray is going to be hitting that 3rd base that Vega has put down.
That 3rd base is going to go down, but I really don't see any way back in for the Void right now. His Warp Gate Research never having even started right now. He's not even chronoing out those Zealots, and these roaches are probably... oh, there is a Void Ray, but according to Stefano, when your opponent goes Void Ray, you just make more roaches.
That is a very good way to counter. I mean, Void Rays are very, very strong. The problem is they take a long time to kill off roaches, which means roaches can actually just kind of push their way through any kind of Void Ray army and still come out pretty high on top. As you can see right now, Void only has 29 supply to the 100 of Vega, but the problem is Vega doesn't actually have any anti-air, hasn't been really producing it. He hasn't even thrown down some spore crawlers, which means if these roaches eventually get picked off, which they currently are not, as that 1 Void Ray in the main from Void is actually just kind of sitting in front of the gateways, it could actually be a victory here for Void, just because there is no anti-air from Vega, other than a couple of queens that aren't really doing anything.
I might agree with you there. If there was another probe out wandering around somewhere on the map building a pylon, but it looks like with this reinforcement of roaches, the DPS for Vega is just going to be too much, even if Vega does not do anything back home, which he still actually isn't. No spore crawlers, he's not making infestors, even though he has an infestation pit, he's not rebuilding queens, he's just letting pretty much everything die. Now laying down a forward hatchery and expanding, so that's at least expanding a lot.
Void should lose. Vega is killing off all the bases, like we said. There's no kind of hidden building anywhere on the map right now from Void. So as soon as this 38 Cybernetics Core double assimilator go down, I think it very will be game.
So an interesting game number one. Void going for a little bit of a cheesy build with a double skill raise. And once this last assimilator is done, we're going to enter that score screen. And there you have it, ladies and gents. Game number one of Good as Gold number 50. Alongside Nostalgia Telex, that's his name right down there below, oh, in the middle. That's the middle. I'm OrD. You can find me at all those beautiful locations down below. If you're in the chat room, please run out there to Twitter, to Facebook. Get other people to come into the chat and experience this with us. If you're watching the VODs, please click on the next one. Thanks.